Okay, Chris, so first things first, I want to show you my Weber. Just cleaned the ashes out, is inside and a little bit here in the front. The key thing I wanted to show you is this lever that you turn right there. It's very important for fire management. As you know, it breathes in, breathes out. Anytime you're doing a low and slow, you want the opposite of this. This is open where you get lots of air. So the fire breathes, gets lots of fire, burns clean. When you set the sky up, and where I've been setting up for my low and slows is where you can see those holes covered up quite a bit. That's where I've been leaving them like that, and that'll make sure that you're not getting too much airflow where it's just really burning out the charcoal that you're using. Obviously, fire management applies to any way you cook, but if you're burning with wood and charcoal, you've got to make sure you've got control over your air in and your air out. So as you can see here, I've inserted this piece right here that's a holder where I put my charcoal in. These things are really great for doing low and slow because it's got a dedicated area to stack your charcoal, and it also has a little area here you can hold a quart of water. You don't have to have this. You can stack your charcoal on one side and it'll work perfectly fine. I just highly recommend this because it makes things a lot easier as far as handling temperature in it. So after that, I'm just going to throw on this grill top here. If I get it fit on there. This here where I can open it up to put the charcoal in. Got my lighter here. This is where I'm going to light the charcoal. So I've got a base in this of Kingsford Blue charcoal briquettes, and then I've got some B&B post oak lump charcoal at the top. I'm just mixing it up a bit so you get a little bit more smoke. Actually, you get quite a bit more smoke off of lump charcoal than you do with briquettes. The one thing about the difference with lump and the briquettes will burn cooler and longer, and the lump charcoal will burn faster and hotter. So you keep that in mind when you're dealing with your fire management and what you're trying to get done. The one big thing is using the lump is you get a lot more smoky flavor than you do if you're just using charcoal briquettes. I also forgot to mention, it usually takes me at least 20 minutes of this lit and burning. And what you're looking for is the wood or the charcoal that's inside to start getting some white ash. Once you see the white ash, you know it's plenty hot and ready to throw in the cooker. So I just came inside and I set my timer for 20 minutes. That way I know to check it after this timer goes off. And that gives me 20 minutes to get the meat out and get the rub and all that out to prepare the meat. So it'll be ready to go on when the time's up. Okay, so this is the pork shoulder I bought. If you notice, it is 5 pounds. And typically in your barbecue temperatures of 225 to 275, it's a safe measure to figure an hour per pound. And usually you can only go up from there. You're checking for temperature, you're checking for tenderness, and you can't forget the rest time either. You want to rest the meat after you barbecued it at a minimum an hour. I typically try to rest a minimum of 2 hours, but that depends on how hungry you are and how fast you want to get to your food. Okay, so here's the meat out of the package. I was going to use some mustard today as a binder. Some people use mustard, some people use mayonnaise. I've seen fat, rendered fat, water, spray of water, anything. But the thing is, it's already moist. Because it's moist, I don't really need to use mustard. You don't taste the mustard once it cooks off. It's sticky enough that it allows the seasoning to stick to the meat. This thing is pretty moist out of the package. So the only thing I'm going to do extra is add a little bit of extra black pepper. And the thing is, you want to always add black pepper first before you add any other seasonings. And the reason why is that allows that black pepper to stick to the meat first. And that's what builds the really awesome bark that you see all the pros get in their barbecue. There's that black pepper. You can go with any kind of seasoning you want. Today, I'm using good old Uncle Dave's Dirty Rub and Seasonal. but I'm doing a mix today with something else I've used before and I like. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of that, and I'm going to use this al pastor seasoning because it puts a really good flavor. It's some chili powders and stuff like that. You can see what's in it. But it puts a really good flavor on the pork. Citrus and sweetness goes very good with the pork. So that's what I'm going to do. Mix it up in here and throw it on the rub. Okay, I just want to show you this what it looks like rubbed down. Notice that I put it with a shallow pan with a grate. You don't have to do this. You can put it right on the grates on the grill. The reason why I do this is it just makes for a lot easier cleanup. I'm not a big fan of cooking anything that is flat because you don't get any airflow. That means all that bottom part of your meat doesn't even get any kind of smoke. When you use it like this, at least you got some airflow where things cook a little more evenly, and also you get a lot more smoke on the meat itself. That 20-minute timer went off, and if you notice, you can see some white ash going on at the top. That means things are burned down pretty good. So here we go. We're going to put it in here. Ow, if I don't burn my finger off while I'm attempting to do this. And we're going to get that all settled in there. And then we're going to be ready to cook. Remember, this is indirect cooking. Fire on one side, meat on the other. You don't have to have charcoal or wood to do this. You can do it on your gas grill. You just have to have one side of the gas reach the temperature you want, and then you put the meat on the other side. The only thing you might be missing, of course, is the smoke if you don't have a way to generate smoke cooking that method. But you can do it. I've done it plenty of times. All right, so adding the meat to the fire. With the shape of this guy, I don't have a lot of leeway in getting this where I want it. The big thing is I want to try to keep it as far away from the fire as I can. And the bigger, thicker side closer to the fire. That grate was pissing me off, so I just moved it over here to grabbed a smaller grate and gonna go with that. Got as far back as I can, access to the meat. I forgot to put water in this thing. You don't have to, but I think I'm going to. So we're ready to start cooking now. Key thing you want to see is this. You want to pay attention to where the wind's blowing. You see how the wind's, if you can see the smoke's going this direction. You want the smoke to go over the meat. So as you see here, that's where the smoke's going to escape. So we're going to put that guy on this side, and over here is where we're going to let the smoke out. So this is the way now that you're going to be adjusting your temperature based off of what you get over here. So I'm going to leave it about 1/4, and we'll watch this guy over here. Typically somewhere around in the 400 range on this particular cooker means that it's about 250 on this side. So we'll check her out and see where she goes. Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of people like to use water. Reasons for is that it helps control the temperature inside. Notice how hot that baby is right now. It's a little too hot. So gotta close this guy down a little. First I'm gonna add the water because that's gonna bring the temps down. Also, it creates humidity. So humidity and dampness like smoke. It attracts smoke. So that's the reason why you see people doing the water pans. That's also the reason why you see people spray the meat ever so often. It helps attract smoke, and the other part of spraying the meat is that it keeps it moist so you don't get burnt stuff and crispy stuff on there. Next up is my spray that I'm going to use every hour, 45 minutes to an hour to check the meat. These are ingredients that I like to use in my marinades. I use pickle juice and water a lot when I'm cooking brisket. You don't have to use anything but water. Water in itself is moisture, but I'm going for a little bit of umami, and anything pork is great with apple. So apple cider vinegar helps bring out some flavors there too. So I'm going to combine these two guys with plenty of water, and that'll be my spray to administer to the pork shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give it an inaugural spray on the meat with this mixer that I made. Key thing is you add water to it. You don't want just straight vinegar, straight soy sauce, anything like that, because it's going to be too harsh. Look at that temp. That temp is still really high. So I'm going to choke this bad boy down low. Hardly any air at all. Got this guy here. Get some moisture on this. Now here's the thing you notice here. We got the moisture and we got the fire, but you don't really see any smoke rolling. I bought pecan pieces to throw in there, and I also have some apple, because like I said, apple, great, and pecan, hickory. Pecan's lighter than hickory like we talked about, so you don't get that over smoke situation as much. But what's really nice about using these cookers to smoke with, to barbecue, is because the way that it cooks, just the way the airflow works and stuff, it's really hard to over smoke on them, so you can really throw the smoke hard. You don't have to worry about the thin blue smoke of this. You can get it dirty. Of course, you want to keep it, or you'd like for it to be thin blue, but if it's a little dirty, don't worry about it, because it'll be out soon enough. So these are the chips that I'm rolling with today. I thought I had some pecan chunks in the garage, but no, I didn't. That's all right. This is going to work. We've got a good base with the charcoal in here, and now we're going to throw this down. And this is pretty much all you got to do for a long time. You just want to make sure that temperature's down. Add these bad boys in there. Let's see the smoke to start rolling. And remember, these guys will light up fast too, because it's got plenty of oxygen right now. So once you get them on here, you want to go ahead and get the lid back on as soon as possible, so you can choke that down and get smoke instead of fire. And let's see what we got here. That's what we're looking for, boy. So the way this goes now is I'm going to come out once an hour and spray it with that liquid. Going to, monitor the fire, make sure it's not getting too crazy or anything. I already know this guy that I've got it dialed in. It's going to settle down here pretty soon. If you're just doing this for the first time, you might want to stick around your grill a little bit and make sure that it's not getting crazy. If it's a little high, it's not a problem. If it's blazing way over in the 900s, you need to take the lid off and let the fire cool down a little bit. But that's what we got going now. Like I said, once an hour spraying, checking the temp, add more of the chips to keep the smoke rolling, and we will do that up until we get the bark that we like. Hey, something real quick while I'm sitting here out here with the fire, I was going to tell you. There I go with that face. For some reason, I always make that face. The scientists have explained it. For some reason, there's a chemical reaction that takes place inside meat around 140 degrees, where the moisture from the inside starts coming to the outside. And because of that, they typically say around 140 degrees is about the time that meat doesn't take on any more smoke. So if you got smoke rolling, people let smoke roll, stick burners and stuff, they let it go the whole time. But I typically let smoke go all the time that I'm in the pit. The big thing is that you want to hit it pretty good at the beginning, because that's the time you're going to absorb the most smoke. And cooler temperatures, the cooler the meat is, that means the more smoke it's going to absorb as it heats up. The other thing I wanted to mention to you was the bark. I typically cook to bark, and the way that works is, as I'm checking it, I'm coming out every hour or so, whatever, I'll start touching the bark. And when the bark feels really, really firm, the way I want it, that's usually when I wrap it. You don't have to wrap it. It takes longer to cook, and if you don't wrap it, a lot of times you get that real crunchy bark that not a lot of people like. I like it, but not a lot of people like it. So then the two other ways that a lot of people wrap is with butcher paper. And when you do butcher paper, that keeps some of the bark, but it's a little bit more moist. And the quick way, they call it the Texas crutch, is wrapping in aluminum foil once you get your bark set. And the reason why is that just makes it cooks faster. It keeps the moisture in, so it kind of steams the meat a little bit, kind of like a crock pot would do, and it just makes it real moist, and it cooks faster because it's wrapped in metal. One more quick thing that I wanted to add is that there's a guy named Harry Sue. Maybe you've seen him on YouTube, Asian guy. He's won possibly more trophies than anybody else ever has in the barbecue circuits. And one key thing he says is that BTU is BTU is BTU. And what he means is temperature. Temperature is temperature. And so he wins all kinds of stuff. And typically when he wraps, because once you wrap it, it's not going to absorb any smoke at all. It's just heat. It's temperature. You already got a fire going outside. That's good if you want to tend to a fire all the way through the cook. But he tells a lot of people he's won lots of trophies with wrapping and then going to the oven at whatever temperature that he's usually somewhere between, you know, barbecue temperature 225 and 275. And then pulled pork, typically I'm actually on a web page, it's called 203, it's done. So that's usually where I take my pulled pork to 203. 203 to 205 is perfect. We're sitting real good right there at that 400 I was talking about. Don't see any smoke rolling. But on our first spray, you can see what we got going on here. Sometimes I got to go in here and stir this fire up a bit to get some smoke rolling, and sometimes I got to add some more chips to the fire. So I just got a text from you, asked me how it's going. I was coming to let you know that this bark is looking good. I don't know if I got enough light where you can see it here. So you got the dark color, and the thing is even though it's moist, it's still got a really firm, good texture. It's not too spongy. You've got a little bit of substance to it. That's what you're looking for. The darkness you're going to get from the smoke and the pepper, and of course, some Uncle Dave's didn't hurt. But that's what we're looking at over here in the fire. And I think this is good enough to go ahead and pull and wrap. So this is on the inside now. You can see what I'm talking about. See how it's very firm? That means it's set. If you let it go all night like that, you'll have really, really hard bark. Very, very firm bark. Wrap it in paper and you'll keep some of that. I want to go to bed tonight. I'm not too worried about the bark. It's still going to be good tasting. So I've taken my Pitmaster's Choice aluminum foil. You want to use this really heavy duty, you know, barbecue dedicated, because it is thick, it keeps heat retention, and also you don't have to worry about issues like poking holes and stuff like that. So I'm gonna throw this thing on here and get it wrapped, and I'll be right back. Okay, this is really weirdly one of my favorite parts, is that I've got the bark set and I've got it wrapped to finish up. I like to guess what I think the temperature is going to be. So I've got my meat probe here. I want to find it in the thickest part. And that should be about pretty good right there. The thing is, I have no idea. My guess is somewhere between 175 and 180. I could be completely off. Where is it at here? Get in there. Let's see where we're at. Oh, dang, I was way off. Well, now we're creeping a little bit. I've come to notice that usually the bark is set usually around like 160 to 170. So because it went a little long for me, for the size, I was thinking I was around 170. But I was wrong. So the thing I was telling you about earlier, BTU. This is wrapped now. You can't put any more smoke on it. So you can either go outside and tend to fire, or you can do what I'm doing here. I've got the oven on high bake, preheated to 250. So I'm going to finish this thing off in the oven at 250 until it hits 203. It topped at 167, so man, I wasn't too far off. Hey, so I guess I really want to say that that's pretty much the end of the process. So what's going to happen next is that meat's going to hit my 203 that I want to hit. Like I said, you can go before, you can go farther. Just be careful when you start getting past 205 and the 210 pluses, you start getting mush. And anything below 200, a lot of times you end up having to cut it. You can't pull it. Pulled pork specifically is usually in that 200 degree plus range. So we're gonna hit that temp and then we're gonna hold it, you know. Like I said before, I typically try to hold it for 2 hours at least. You can make faux cambros by wrapping in a bunch of towels. Felina was here trying to say, hey, wrap up in towels and put it in a cooler and all that kind of stuff, and you can really hold it for a long time if you want to. And a lot of times, you know, people cook to a little bit lower temperature and then hold it for a long time. All kinds of ways that people do stuff with that. But the key thing to remember in that, you know, with the thermometer there is anything below 140 is when you start hitting the quote-unquote danger zone. And so anything after below 140, then that's when you need to refrigerate. So that's what's going to happen at some point this morning, is I'm going to hit the 139 on the thermometer, and I'm going to have it set for me to say, okay, let's put it in the fridge and refrigerate it, and then it'll be ready to warm up when we get together. So the nice thing about being wrapped in foils is it's all just ready to go. You just throw it in the oven again, or throw it on your pit, whatever, and you heat it up. I like to heat mine around 275 to heat it up again. And as soon as you hit that 140 range, it's good to go. I like to go a little bit higher to 150 and 150, 160, just where it's warm enough where you don't feel like you're eating cold meat, like you want to nuke it or something. But 150, 160 is plenty hot. Anyways, sorry this thing was so long and drawn out. I tried to get as much information as I could, and I guess I'll do another video tomorrow, maybe a part 2, where we could be together, checking it out, get thoughts and all that stuff. So thanks a lot for watching. Take it easy.